Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Centric. This being a show we talk about TV shows that are crime dramas. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about The Cleaning Lady, the season 3 finale of The Cleaning Lady. A great season finale. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Yo, Ramona is savage, dude. I mean, we already kind of knew, like, how cutthroat she was. Time and time again, I've referenced that. But the fact of the matter is, we find out, well, we saw her pick up Nadia's body and put her in the back of Tony's van. I was like, what are you doing with that? The plan was to drop her off at Russo's place. Russo was like, yeah, I opened my door and there was Nadia's body. Which, that whole thing is like a 3-point trifecta of like, oh, that cuts deep. First and foremost, it's like, regardless of it all, Russo did try to help Nadia, which it kind of in turn ended up kind of getting her killed regardless. But it's like, the fact of the matter is, she did try to help Nadia, so she feels extra guilty about that. There's the whole element of the reason why she specifically chose Russo, because this is Russo's operations. It's Jeremy's, but really, obviously, he has to run it up the chain, and Russo's the one that kind of signs off on it. So it's her operation. So there's that double strike. But there's also the triple strike of, you're the only agent that Ramona met personally. You introduced yourself to her. So that was meant to be an extra middle finger to you, being like, oh, you're the one FBI agent. I know your face and know you by reputation. So it was like a double middle finger. There's also the element of, well, because Ramona remembers her from Nadia's place, so now knowing that Nadia was working with the FBI, not really, but in her mind, she was practically working with the FBI, it's still kind of like oh, you must be the person she was in contact with because you were at her place. So it's like, in fact, that's kind of like a quadruple strike, but it's like there's layers to her leaving that body there. There's just like things you could, like I said, like I listed, just stuff you could tick off to be like, oh, it makes that hurt even more. But you're just still, like I said, it's still like such a gut punch, and getting the photo and everything, you're just like, oh, God, that sucks. But everyone knows this is a one and done move for the FBI. They have to nail Ramona, because if they don't, this is over. Like, because they know, like, right, we're going to show up at this charity thing, but everyone we have all the legal reason to arrest are just like people she does business with and she's getting money from, but we don't have anything that could directly take Ramona down, which that's even something Jorge was trying to get across to her, like, hey, like, the feds don't have anything on us. Like, we weathered this storm, we can move on. Because Ramona wanted to go full scorched earth. She's like, oh yeah, once all the FBI agents have been identified, we'll just kill them all. Like, the fact is, Jorge had to be like, whoa, sis, you're bloodthirsty, you need to calm down. The feds are like cockroaches. You kill a few, you're going to draw in way more attention. It's like, hey, let's basically throw them some small fish in this grander pond that is our operation as a cartel, and then we'll kind of continue our business, and we'll just kind of like be able to get the FBI off our back, because it's like, this is at one time. If they do not take us down, it's going to take them a long time to build something back up to come after us again, and then we can just move on by that point. So, and this is also after she dropped the info of like, yeah, I had to take care of like, an informant or like someone connected to the FBI. And Jorge didn't put it together about the whole Nadia thing. I think because in his head it's like, well, I don't have to worry about it. Nadia's out of the country. She's good. She's gone. Not knowing like at this point she's literally gone as in dead. So. Because that opening with Tony too, where she's like cleaning off some blood, and then she walks in because she hears Luca playing, and it's like, who is he playing with? And she sees the blonde wig. Because I halfway expected, like, I was like, is this a nightmare? Is she going to walk in there and it's going to be Ramona? Because I'm like, there's no way you got home. Like, how is this possible? But even Tony's like, I don't know why Ramona left me alive. And it's like, well, I still have some use to her. But it's like, yeah, you'd think she would kind of, because she knows, like, you lied to her. It's like, well, I can't trust you now. I mean, you protecting Nadia doesn't necessarily mean you work with the FBI, but you went behind my back. You did this thing I ordered you to do. I mean, if anything, Tony put herself in that position, but it was like, yeah, because I wanted to talk to Nadia without having to kill her. But it's like, yeah, you lied to me, and so I can't trust you anymore, but I am going to use you because you know that I'm in a position to basically wipe out you and your entire family if you don't fall in line with what I want. So there's elements to that. It's like, what is Tony going to do? So Tony feels like the only person she can turn to in this situation is Jorge, and so she ends up ultimately telling Jorge the truth. It's like, yeah, Nadia's gone, and it was your sister that did it. That's before she ended up talking to Jeremy, because Jeremy has some info that Russo gave him, and it was like, yeah, apparently everything that can be traced back to the cartel is under Jorge's name. And it's like, well, he's done, which is extra effed up considering like Jorge's done everything he can to protect this operation. In fact, protect his sister. So now it's like everything's under his name, but once Tony finds that out, she thinks it's messed up. But Jeremy's like, yeah, but he's not a good dude. She's like, yeah, but you're trying to take down the head of the cartel, which isn't him, it's his sister. You don't throw him down, you're still going to have to deal with Ramona, who is, yes, Jorge is a bad guy, but once again, he does have a heart of gold. He does care, so he's a lot less bloodthirsty than his sister. Once again, he still can get shit done when time comes, like when it came to wiping out Dante's entire operation, like anyone that was loyal to Dante, like he made sure to handle that, right? So he isn't above doing it, but once again, it's still the thing of, he's very much like Armand in that regard. But yeah, you let Ramona go, like that's, you're basically unleashing her on the world and kind of giving her a chance to just get even bigger and stronger than what she already is, and gives you less and less chance to really take her down in the future, because she's going to be a lot more guarded and prepared, knowing like, right, you got this close, I need to make sure you never get this close again. So, but now he's also finding out about Tony and the FBI, which for Tony, it's like, right, I got duped. Literally, I only found out a few episodes ago that the repairman guy that I was kind of like cool with, turns out he was an FBI agent. So I'm only finding out about that. And now it's like, I'm sure he's kind of got all mixed emotions, because he's like, if you're the FBI rat, you're the reason why Nadia got killed. Because he's like, I know Nadia wasn't the rat. I knew she wasn't really working at the feds. Like, you know, which was the truth. She wasn't working with the feds. They were setting up that deal, but they never pulled the trigger on it because Nadia bailed on it. So, but Tony was able to convince Jorge, because it's like, yeah, if something does happen to you, what happens to your daughter? It's like, well, she'll be left with Ramona. It's like, are you comfortable with her raising your daughter? Are you really okay with that? And even he's like, yeah, just as a precaution, because he still wants to give his sister the benefit of the doubt. He recognizes how unsafe she is, and it's like, well, she's been making a lot of crazy moves. Once again, she's the reason why Armand is dead. Well, she's also the reason why Nadia is dead. In fact, she even tells him later on, like, oh, like, I did it myself. Because he probably thought, like, oh, she had someone else do it. But it's like, it's a different thing knowing, like, oh, you went up to Nadia and you killed her. He specifically was like, how'd you do it? She's like, yeah, I stabbed her. So that's plot relevant until near the end of the episode, but we'll get to that when we get to it. But it was interesting, like, he dropped off his daughter to Armand's mom's, which I thought was so interesting. I wondered, did he specifically wait until Armand's dad wasn't there, or just like he was kind of like, regardless if he is or not. But it's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave my daughter with you just in case something does happen to me, because it's like, right, I don't, because even Armand's mom was like, oh, so you don't want Ramona to have your daughter? It's like, what's going on? And it's like, regardless of like the business you're mixed up in, she's still family, so obviously we'll take care of her. Once again, I'm sure Armand's dad couldn't put up too much fight. It's like a little girl. She's innocent and all this, regardless of it. Granted, it could still bring trouble your way, especially if Ramona wanted to. That could turn into a whole legal situation, because it's like, right, I am her family. I mean, it's like, who would have more legal right in that situation? Well, we know Ramona had like a backup plan, so she definitely would have won that if it ever went to the legal route, unless she wanted to just straight up kidnap her. But because I'm about to say, it's like we're talking about an aunt and uncle type of situation versus another aunt and uncle type of situation. So, but we finally have Jorge and Jeremy meeting. Once again, so many different parallels. It's very much like Armand and Garrett, like meeting meeting with Tony in the middle, being like, okay, here we are face to face. Like, we've been at each other's throats, but we kind of have to come together and work together to kind of see this through. So it's very similar in that regard. And so it's like, cool. Give us what we need to take down your sister, because she has pointed everything towards you. You help us do that and get an immunity deal. But he wants stuff out of like Ramona's safe, because it's like, right, I need her fingerprint, because there's no telling what secrets are in that thing. So I need to find out what my sister is hiding from me. I thought it was just going to be evidence so that it could give to the cops. And it's like, well, I don't know if there was anything in that safe he ended up handing over, or whether everything in that safe he ended up keeping for himself. Well, he obviously didn't keep everything in the safe to himself and gave some to the feds. We'll get to that. But everything kind of converges, all the storylines too, because JD and Fee went to the hotel. Like, this is before everything went down, and to look for Chris, who's still with Gabriella and the other people, which, once again, Chris doing too much where he's like banging on the wall, because obviously he wants to get Gabriella some help because her arm is injured and it's infected. So it's like, yeah, get some doctors. But the other people are like, whoa, what the hell are you doing? Like, yo, like, you'd assume Ice is gone. They should be fine. But it's also like, you don't know if they're gone. Like, you could, like, doom all those people. You could severely screw them over and, like, put them in hot water. It's like, but once again, Chris is young. He's stupid. Doesn't really, like, he's got tunnel vision focused on, like, all he cares about. It's like, yeah, like, you don't care about the other people here because the only thing you care about is the one person that's here that you cared about. And that's, I kept saying Gabriella. I'm so sorry. It's Camilla. I don't know where the hell I'm getting Gabriella from. Like, I do apologize. It's Camilla. I don't know where I got Gabriella from. Where the fuck did I pull that from? I feel so stupid. I'm like, Gabriella. I'm like, why the fuck did I say that it's Camilla? Like, ugh. I'm so sorry. Either way, that's all he cares about. Luckily, his mom showed up at that time, which, yo, MVP to that cook. That person working in the kitchen, because the moment, like, oh my god, like, he sees that, like, Fee's in some trouble, he dumps some carrots on the floor and she puts up the mop trying to, like, pretend like she's cleaning it up, and she tells the guy thank you. He just kind of, I was like, yo, dude, that extra did not have any single lines, but that dude's still the MVP, because I'm like, yo, you didn't have to do that. He didn't know what this situation was, but he was almost like, nah, I work here, but fuck those guys. He's like, yeah, I know what this shit is. Like, regardless of it, like, you're in danger. These are kids running. It's like, nah, fuck those people. So yeah, whatever help I can give, I can give. I'm like, no, nothing said, just kind of like nods and a nod. What I said without missing a beat, home dude just threw the carrots down. I'm like, yo, you're a real one for that, dude. That's so good. So luckily that all worked out. But how this ties into the ultimate plot, ultimate, like, overarching thing is Gabrielle. I'm doing it again. I'm so sorry. Have I called her Gabrielle in the previous one? I hope I haven't. Because I'm like, where the fuck am I getting the name Gabrielle from? I was like, not even Gabriella. Like, it's Camilla. Like, I don't know why I'm fucking this up so bad. I'm so sorry. Camilla, because she's been at these different places that the cartel's kind of moved them around the workplaces, she might know some of these business people, because these people that Ramona have connection to, like, Camilla, I was literally about to say Gabriella again. I'm having a fucking massive issue, right? I'm fucking having a stroke or something, bro. I can't help myself. What the fuck? So sorry. Camilla has been to these people's places of businesses and is like, yeah, I've worked here, so I'll point out anyone that you know. It also reconfirms anyone that Tony's supposed to tag as a potential business partner that Ramona has, like, she's getting money and kickbacks from. So that's Tony's role in it, just kind of mark these people, which obviously it's like, because for whatever reason in my head, I had the number 8 in my head, like, oh, and there's supposed to be 8, because ultimately it only ended up being 5. But it's like, there's probably a lot, well, there's definitely a lot more, but Jorge was like, no. I'm not going to completely implode everything. This is as many as the FBI is going to get. I got to keep some for myself, because also I don't trust him. Just like Jeremy doesn't trust Jorge, because it's like, will he turn on his sister? Even Tony had her reservations of, that's why Camilla was also there too, because it's like, well, we can't fully trust Jorge to come through. I want to believe he'll come through, but even she has her doubts, because you can't say anything's a surefire thing, because Nadia getting murdered last episode is proof that nothing's a surefire thing. Just when you think you're good, that's when everything implodes. When, jumping ahead a little bit, the entire plan does implode a lot of ways, especially because Jorge doesn't want to fully play ball, because yes, his sister's up to some fuck shit, but it's like, yo, she's still my sister. Family means a lot to me. It's like, well, we'll see if we'll see whether you feel that same way when this is all said and done, whether your sister really has your best interests at heart. So Jeremy having a plan B, came through, but it's like, well, he has to present himself to Ramona, presenting himself a certain way. And I love that Jorge was there to be like, oh, you worked on that? Wasn't that so-and-so? But it's like, oh, no, they went out of business like 3 years ago, so Jeremy came in with like, had enough, to be fair, it's like the FBI does probably like do a very extensive job like vetting like any covers they create for you, extensive enough history in case people do ask questions, considering like, well, you're dealing with cartel people who are already on edge. I mean, she already knows there's going to be FBI agents here regardless, because it's like, right, this has to be the only time to strike. Plus, she's already on guard from it all. So, you got to be prepared for that stuff. But she kind of still sniffed him out. And then ultimately, Tony had to kind of rat Jeremy out. Be like, yeah, I think he is an FBI agent. So it's like, yeah. So the moment the dude that she pulled aside to talk to, you're like, right, that's the guy she initially sent to kill Nadia a couple episodes, like 2 episodes back. So it's like, okay, it's that guy, which he ends up killing some of the agents that were stashed out. Luckily, Jeremy dealt with him because Tony came in with the save, so that ultimately ended up working out. Jorge, using the chip that he got that had like Ramona's fingerprint, we find out what Ramona's been up to. Once again, just like the FBI said, everything's under his name, meant to throw him under the bus. But then we also find some adoption papers for Jorge's daughter. It's like, then becomes the thought process of how long has Ramona been planning to throw Jorge under the bus? Because like his signature's on stuff, but it's like, because they cut back to like a flashback of like when the house got raided by the feds. What was that? Was that episode 11? Yeah, I think that was No, that was episode 10. When the feds raided her place, she was hugging like her knees and she was kind of looking like pissed off. So I'm wondering if that point, because she probably hadn't really thought of it before, but now she had all the motive and reason to kind of throw Jorge under the bus, because it's like Jorge had already kind of had his like reservations with his sister, and so she's like, if it comes down to it, I'll have to sacrifice Jorge, but I won't say anything to him. And the fact is, I'm going to take his, because she wants some family, because I mean it's layers of how effed up Ramona is. Like, oh, I'm just it's like, right, I'm the only family you got around, bro, so I'm going to take your daughter without you knowing, and I'm going to legally adopt her, and it's just all behind your back. It's like, right, you are already going to get her, like, your brother would have wanted you to have her regardless, but for you to go behind his back and adopt her is extra effed up, because it's like, yeah, you want to make her your daughter because she doesn't have any family, she doesn't have anyone in her life, because every other aspect of her family, it's like, right, her brother she basically put herself in a position where neither one of her brothers, including Jorge, wants anything to do with her, because like, yeah, because her brother is Armand's dad, right? Because I think that's a familiar connect. I don't think it's through his mom. I think it was like, yeah, like her brother, yeah, is Jorge, is Armand's brother. But your brother doesn't want anything to do with you. You got your nephew killed. You killed your. How does that work? Fit like marriage wise? Would she be like your niece-in-law? Is that how that works? I don't know. I've never really heard that term, but I'm like, I don't know if that's what technically Nadia would have been. So it's like you kind of are all alone in this, and you kind of isolated yourself and put yourself in this position. Once again, heavy is the head that wears the crown, and it's like, yeah, you got to be very cutthroat. You got to make some hard decisions. But once again, like, she's also hasn't really been in her right frame of mind. But even post lead poisoning, I keep bringing up the fact is that she still hasn't been in her right state of mind. But who knows? We haven't spent a lot of time with Ramona outside of this season, so we don't know if she's always. It seems like she's always kind of been this way. So, but then like Jorge ends up also finding the knife that she used to kill Nadia. I wonder, is that, I didn't even think about it at the time, but isn't that the same knife she used to kill the guy that was meant to kill Tony, the dude who set up that facility where both Tony and Jeremy were there? They were supposed to both die. I think that was the same knife, but I could be mistaken. But he took the knife. My immediate thought was, oh, is Jorge going to end up killing his sister? Because I was thinking like, well, it might be a thing of Tony might kill her because, like, right, the whole thing of Tony not killing someone and having the chance to kill having the chance to kill I mean, it's like funny. I made that slip up considering she like, fake killed Nadia. But it's like, yeah, having the opportunity to kill Ramona but not taking it. Now you've kind of been forced into a place where it's like, I might need to kill you just so there's no guarantee you're going to be arrested and taken away with all this. So I need to make sure you die. So that's why when Jeremy killed the assassin, she picked up the gun like, yeah, I'm gonna handle this myself. This has to be dealt with this. So my thought process has been like that could go either way. Tony has all the motive to kill her. Despite everything, it'd probably be poetic for Jorge to be the one to kill her, despite because of the familial connections and all that. So I thought like, oh, is he going to kill her with the knife just to kind of be poetic? Because hey, you use this to kill Nadia, I'm going to use it to kill you. And so Ramona, just when the feds made their move, she bounces, has trying to like wait for a helicopter to come, and there's Tony waiting for her, gun in hand, like, oh, you're going to go down. I'm going to stop you. It's like, ooh, yeah, about that, Tony. I had an extra reason for keeping you around. Not only were you going to be the one to point out the feds to me, so you serve that purpose, but my plan was to also throw you under the bus, because it's like, once again, I couldn't keep you around because you lied and manipulated me. So there's no guarantee she would have gone after Tony's family, but the threat probably would have been, you're going to be in jail and you won't be able to protect your family, and I'm going to murder them if you ever do anything to me or cross me. Those threats didn't really come up, but I think they're kind of implied. But yeah, it's like, oh, we used her van and now Nadia's blood's in the back of your van. Yeah, it's all going to point to you. Because I was like, how does that point to Tony? Not unless Tony was knocked out. But it's like, no, it seems like she was conscious the entire time. So I was like, there's no way you would have been able to get her fingerprints on the knife or whatever. So I'm like, how would that have worked? But also Ramona's like, yeah, but you don't have it in you to kill me. You didn't have it in you to kill Nadia. But it's like, well, she liked Nadia, so she wasn't going to cross that line regardless of it all. But it's like, yeah, she doesn't like Ramona, but she's like, you're not a killer. You can't do this. But then Jorge shows up and reveals like, yeah, I've been working with the cops. You did what you did. Like, you thought you were going to take my daughter, and how do you think I wasn't going to respond? Oh, that chopper, you think it's coming for you? Nah, that's actually the feds. Oh, they've got you surrounded. Oh, you don't think they have anything against you? Ooh, this knife. I'm like, oh, this got your fingerprints on it. Prove that you killed Nadia. So it's like, cool. So she's going down. Once again, the problem is you're locking up a cartel boss. Regardless of it all, I mean, granted, a lot of her cohorts are getting locked up. Granted, she tried to be like, well, they're fodder. Like, I don't care. Like, they're replaceable. But it's like, yeah, you are. It puts yourself in twofold of a situation. One, like, a lot of your cohorts are locked up, but you are still you. You have a laundry list of people you can pull strings towards. Granted, I'm sure it's going to be a thing of they're freezing all your assets and your accounts, so you can't really pay off anyone in this situation, but your reputation probably still precedes you, so who knows how that works out. I mean, some of those people you are getting locked up at the end of the episode are powerful people too, so they could still pull some strings for her, but I don't know. It presents a very interesting thing of, well, can you really just leave her in jail because she's too much of a threat? Two, an element I completely ignored in the episode and didn't even think about the entire time until it comes back up at the end of the episode is Derek. The mysterious Derek we keep hearing about. He's someone that's powerful. We have no idea what position he's in, but he's in a position enough that Ramona's like, he's always protected us, so we kind of have to look out for his best interest. I mean, once again, he's the one that was able to get that FBI deal that was supposed to be for Nadia. Like, he's the one that got access to it, so he's someone of note and power that's always looked after Ramona. I'd assume just because it's like you get some kickback off of protecting her or something like that. I'd assume. But yeah, my point with bringing him up is he could probably have her killed in prison. I mean, Ramona's probably hoping that, right, with Derek looking out for you, maybe he could swing some stuff, but it's like you're probably up shit's creek without a paddle type of situation, so he'll probably leave you to rot, or he'll basically hire someone to kill you just to protect himself, because Ramona will probably try to cut a deal like, oh, you want me? Well, you probably want Derek, and once she probably starts speaking and talking, Derek will probably have her killed type of situation. So, I mean, the sad thing is, like, if you're powerful enough, you could easily get someone like you want dead on the inside of prison. Like, you can easily have that dealt with. I mean, it also depends on like Ramona's lawyers and stuff like that. I think they've got her right, but it's like you never want to underestimate a queen pin type of situation, So we'll see how that all plays out. But Jorge does have reins of the organization. He's making Tony realize, like, hey, it's okay. Like, a lot of the cartel's going to listen to me, so your family's safe. But he's offering her a position there. But for her, it's like, no, like, Armand wanted to use that power and, protect the people he cares about. And Jorge's like, yeah, Ramona said the same thing. And she's like, and yeah, look at how Ramona used that power. Tony's like, I know what that power does. It's going to corrupt you. And especially when Ramona kept trying to make parallels between them of like, yeah, you're like me. The moment you're going to want some power. And it's like, I mean, power and position has been a blessing and curse, because it can be a blessing and, hey, it helps protect your family, but it also, given enough time, it can torch you and twist you. But also, she's seen like being mixed up in this world has done nothing but cause harm for my entire family, so I don't want that. So she's walking away. She just wants, what was it that he was like, Jorge was like, what do you want? She was kind of like, I want to basically make my own way. I want something of my own, because if I work with you, it's always going to be your operation, and that's danger that's coming my family's way. So Jorge didn't get locked up, so I'm sure he's going to go pick up his daughter afterwards. But it does beg the question about like where things stand between him and Armand's mom and dad post all this. I mean, sure, you're probably still, you went through the trouble of introducing your daughter to your sister-in-law, and she hadn't quite met your brother, your brother. So like, we'll see how things kind of flow in that regard. Camilla, once again, is did a lot to help with this investigation. They also find out Giselle is here working at the casinos, or not the casino. This event it is. Yeah, it was at a casino, basically, that the place was happening. The whole event was happening, I think, because there was, like, gambling and stuff. But she's finally reunited with her mom. Who knows what that means for her and Chris, because they kiss again at the end of the episode. But beyond that, like, they'll probably be able to stay in contact. But probably because of her help, I'm sure that will probably solidify, like, some legal status for Giselle and her mom, so they can potentially stay if they choose to, so... And it helps that they have the entire, like, Tony and her entire family as kind of like, someone you can go to and ask for help. So it's going to be interesting to see where that potentially goes in the future. And then we finally had our stinger at the end, like, okay, so Ramona's locked up, but I'm like, once again, enough time for shit to hit the fan, so where do we go from here? And that's where I was like, oh yeah, I completely forgot about Derek until, like, she got, I wasn't sure what to expect when the box was there. I was like, who the fuck is this from? I was like, is that the last minute gift from Ramona that she sent to her? But it's like, no, it was Derek being like, yeah, I have a job for you, but Tony decides not to answer the phone. It's like, yeah, it doesn't work that way, Tony. You could be like, oh, I'm not going to do it, but it's like, Derek's taking an interest in you, because he's probably heard about you from Ramona, and also the fact that you took Ramona down, and he's probably learned, like, hey, you're very resourceful, so I'm going to need you in the future. Like, Tony's going to try and turn her eyes and ears away from this, but she's not going to be able to. Like, Derek's already, like, you've caught his eyes. There's no getting away from him. So what that pertains to, considering, like, hey, Tony feels like she's finally out, but it's like, oh, the moment you think you're out, they drag you back in. What that fully entails, it's unclear. The show was renewed for a 4th season. Once again, it's been like, I'm getting to this like late, like what the finale. I also didn't realize it was about episodes 11 and 12 aired back to back. But it's like, I think that's also why it was like even longer ago, is because it wasn't week to week for 11 and 12. But so it's been like probably closer to 3 weeks at the time you're recording this, because it's June 5th at the time you're recording this. This might go up today, or maybe I'll wait till tomorrow on June 6th to upload it. I haven't decided yet. But yeah, like it's getting a 4th season. It's going to be another 12 episode season. But the reason I'm also like bringing this up too is because nothing I've read so far, like I said, at recording this on June 6th, nothing is saying like a final season so far. Sometimes those decisions come up later, or at least revealed later, because the network will make that decision. So for now, it just seems like we're getting a new season. Doesn't seem like it's going to be the final season yet, but we'll see whether that ends up changing by the time the next season comes around, which is like, I think some stuff is like estimated, I probably won't get that till mid 2025 maybe is when we get the season, which makes a lot of sense considering, like, us getting this season and everything. So I'm really curious to see what the 4th season involves, with some, obviously, all the developments we got. Like, will we see more Jorge? Like, if, I mean, if we get any Ramona next season, it probably won't be a lot. But will we get any Jorge at all? Will we get any more Russo or Jeremy next season? Like, will the FBI be in Tony's life at all? We'll see. How will Tony eventually get dragged back in? Because she will definitely get dragged back in. Yeah, just big questions about like who Derek is, who's going to play Derek. Is it going to be someone? Is it going to be an actor like that is pretty familiar? Or is it going to be an actor like no one really? That's going to be the really interesting thing to see, like who Derek is and what their position is and how far up the ladder does go. Is Derek pretty high up, or does he answer to someone? Seems like he's at the tippy top of whatever all of this is. So many questions going into the 4th season. I'm excited to see where all this takes us when the cleaning lady returns. But really, that's all I want to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.